The revolution will not be televised.
The revolution will be streamed live. Well, welcome to another edition of the Critical and Thinking podcast. I'm Ian Harris. Ty Barnett is not here. Ty is out being bougie at the Comedy Cellar in Las Vegas and doing comedy. So I have a co-host today. So probably by knowing my co-host today, we'll be off the air within 10 minutes. Blocked.
I am not Ty Barnett.
Maurice Northup.
Do not let your eyes deceive you.
Yes.
We have a lot in common, Ty Barnett and I.
Yes.
But I am not he.
No, but this is Maurice Northup, and welcome, Maurice. Thank you for finally
thank you
making it out. Maurice and I go way back. We've done comedy for years together, and used to do the Evolution of Comedy tour, and we are both hated widely on social media by people who don't like lip tarts.
I'm really hated by some of your friends.
Yes, yes. And our guest, we have a guest via Skype, so you can't see if anyone's watching video, but most of this is audio anyway. And I have been on, speaking of podcasts, a podcaster, author of 6 books, speaker and activist, graduate of the University of Pennsylvania, grad student at Augsburg University, Marissa Alexa McCool, which has got to be the McCoolest name ever. Welcome. Golf clap. Yes, golf clap. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. And trust me, I know all about being hated on Twitter for existing. So I'm right there with you.
Yes, exactly. So give people, let everyone know. Again, everyone doesn't see everyone. It's all audio pretty much here. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself and how do we know each other? Tell our audience.
Well, we know each other because I reached out to you about being on my show, the Inciting Incident podcast. And that is a deep dive interview show that we've been doing for almost 3 years now, me and my co-host Bethany Futrell. And I reached out to you not just because you were an atheist and not just because you were a comedian, but you were an atheist comedian. Yes. And that just seemed like, checked several boxes, so to speak. And I've been in the community, like I said, for about 3 years. And at that point, I was about halfway through my tenure at the University of Pennsylvania, and sort of everything kind of happened at once for me. I came out by screaming, "I'm transgender, fuck you," in the face of a hate preacher. And then a month later, our most famous alum at that school, I think he got elected president or something, and that might have had a minimal impact on my life. And I wrote a rant that turned into a book. And all of a sudden, people knew who I was. And I've written 6 total. My 7th is in the editing phase. I am the host of 2 podcasts, and I produce 5 others. And I've spoken at atheist events and all kinds of different conferences. And I do stand-up comedy, except in places that people aren't expecting to see stand-up comedy, so it kind of works out that way, taken by surprise.
Yeah, it's like a flash mob, stand-up comedy flash mob on the bus. Well, cool.
We weren't expecting vagina jokes here.
Yes.
Well, I don't have a boombox loud enough to tell jokes on the bus. Right. You gotta have that,
Yeah.
All right, you guys ready for the jokes?
Sorry, I should have.
Let's ask. So a lot of people probably. There's a lot of questions. I'm sure a lot of people. Too bad we're not live with Ty here. When Ty here, he always has the most interesting questions. But this is you're transgendered, as you said. What can you explain? Like, help my. I'm sure most of my audience are people that might already even know you, might even be friends of yours on social media. But a lot of people, I have my co-host Ty. We're a little bit different community. Explain what. People have such a hard time dealing with this. I feel like we have the bathroom issues, and we have, and I'm gonna be honest. I remember somebody, I
ain't gonna poop around no pervert.
Right, exactly. Yes, I've had multiple times where I didn't know the proper thing. You don't want to misgender somebody. You don't want to call somebody by the
etiquette.
And I have a friend. Who I used to be in a sketch group with, and I knew her now as him for a long time, and we were in a sketch group together, and he transitioned, and I had the hardest time, not because I didn't want to, but because I knew this person for so long that I kept accidentally saying, I would say the wrong name, or I'd say, God, and I have to catch myself. And it reminded me of, on a very smaller scale, but when my mom, when my mom changed her, this is very small, but I'm just wanting to remember how it used to just piss my mom off, and something as small as her name. She changed her name when she was in this, before I was born, when she was very young, and her entire life.
You never knew your real mom.
Exactly. Yeah. But her entire life, her parents would call her by her original name. And she was insistent that her parents did it on purpose. And I often wonder, I wonder if her parents just could not, their whole life, this was their daughter, Susan.
Yeah.
And they would just call her Sue, and she'd be like, my name is fucking Dawn. It's not Sue. And my mom thought it was on purpose. And I wonder sometimes, on a grander scale, I mean, this is not a name change. This is gender, it's identity. And do people in your family, people that knew you forever, is this a hard thing for them? And how do they deal with it? And how do you deal with it? It's got to be tough, all around.
Well, sure. And, just take that context of the story you just told me with your friend and put it in reverse. And imagine you have to do that with literally everybody that you've ever met or will ever know.
Right.
And that's some idea of what it's like to be trans. So,
yeah.
I'm not particularly close with my family, and this may or may not have something to do with it, but it's sort of like you have to slowly test the waters with people. You have to figure out where they are, because if someone's sharing Caitlyn Jenner jokes all day, I'm probably not going to come out to them,
Right, so exactly.
It's, it's hard for people to understand, because for the most part, people have never had to put that kind of effort into changing how they know someone. But
I think that's where all those jokes come from, is their discomfort with it, their lack of understanding about it. And whenever I've talked to somebody who's got some deal with trans people, I always ask them if they believe climate science. It seems unrelated, but a lot of the time they oh no, it's a liberal lie. I'm like, oh, okay, you may not be a bigot, you just might be stupid. You're just an ignoramus,
which usually leads to bigotry.
Yeah. But some people have a more deeply seated emotional reaction to it, and I think that's almost always more about them than the person they seem to have some frustration with.
It's like homophobia. There are people who are homophobic because they just don't know, which is not a good excuse, but they've never met anybody gay or whatever, and then they do, all of a sudden they're like, oh wait, this isn't a big deal. And then there are other people that are just fucking assholes.
I ain't no homophobia. I ain't never met no gay guy I couldn't beat in a fight.
You ain't afeared of him?
I ain't no homophobia.
But it's I find that ignorance and there's no what's the word I'm looking for? It's no mystery when you look at places that are more liberal. You look at places that's always more diverse. You look at the big cities. Like you go to any red state, you go to Texas, the big cities are blue.
Do I have to?
Well, yeah, you don't have to, but if and I think that just comes down to when you actually know people and have connections with people and actually have to live with people that aren't exactly like you, you get to learn what they're about, and you realize, okay, I'm no longer scared of it, which is why people have the people that are afraid of it have such a hard time with diversity. It's because it freaks them the fuck out. And I think it's, how many times have we seen like a Republican senator who was anti-gay forever, all of a sudden they're not anti-gay because their grandkid came out or their niece. And all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, now that it directly affects me.
I love watching Lindsey Graham get angry. That's when it all comes out.
But I wonder how much of it is, there's gotta be people, like you said, they're just straight up, they're just assholes, and there are people that are just completely ignorant. And,
yeah, there's two kinds of scary bigots. There's the bigot who is their culture is so dependent on their ideological hatreds that they'll act violent on it.
Right.
And then there's another kind of bigot, and that's the guy who really doesn't care, but will pretend to be a bigot. He will take any position for money or for political power or for some cynical purpose. And that to me is insidious because
that's what we call Fox News.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of these
Ann
Republicans, they have absolutely no convictions. I would argue that our president has no genuine convictions whatsoever, that if the Democratic Party was as corrupt as the Republicans, that he would have run as a Democrat.
Right.
And luckily for us, they're only like 30%.
30%. Yes, exactly. So also, So the big misconception too is that, and again, if you want to, we can talk about anything you want to talk about. So if you want to go off into Noah's Ark or Donald Trump, this is a free form. Take it wherever you want. But I just, I think it's interesting. You probably talk about it till you're blue in the face, and you probably don't necessarily want to talk about. But if you don't, just let us know. But I also, I always get those my right wing crazy religious. You always get the memes like, if you were born this way, you're this, or if you got that, like this just weird like first grade level rudimentary understanding.
I was born Republican.
Right. Exactly.
I was born a coal miner. I was born that.
You were born a coal miner's daughter. All right.
Hey, I was just for Halloween skit. All right. It was a Halloween skit. That's all it was. I only shaved one of my legs.
Oh, that's good.
But you have to think about it beyond just like conservative bigotry,
right?
Because you would think that like atheists might be less hostile, and there's certainly a significant portion of them who are not. I was just on an atheist YouTube show 2 weekends ago, and it's the same arguments, except it's logic, reason, and chromosomes instead of God, Jesus, and the Bibles. And it's like, it's a mystery to me how someone can talk about climate skeptics as like, those people, they don't listen to all the scientists, but then maybe don't listen to all the people who know stuff about transgender people and stick with the most rudimentary bio 8th grade science class knowledge of what gender is. And then, call us mentally ill or, say that we just trust me, there are plenty of different variations.
That's a very, very good point. Pseudoscience is not something that, phrenology, that's when they study the lumps in your head. Yeah. He's got a criminal brow. That guy's prone to crime.
Right.
He's got that arching brow of a Cro-Magnon. So, that was gilded in the idea of science. He's got a lab coat. Of course it's true.
Right.
And so I think, that's a good point. That just because you consider yourself, scientific. I have a relative who's homeschooling her child and will not vaccinate her because she doesn't trust the CDC and it's all blah, 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 but perfectly reasonable on other subjects.
Yeah, that's the thing.
They talk about vaccines, and she turns into a stupid dumbass.
Well, I mean, I know people who are. I have I don't want to call her a friend anymore. One of my psycho Facebook people who used to be a liberal comedian, progressive, and now she's a full-on white power neo-Nazi, Kyle, and she's still an atheist. But now she's like, well, evolution says that white people are superior, and it's like what? Like she's just completely taken. I think she used to teach science or something, but she's taken that and somehow skewed it into this weird neo-Nazi white people
all the same
thing.
Arguments, the Nazi eugenic arguments.
It's crazy, but I think it's more of a speaks to how our brains process and how we think, and the fact that people can shed their religion, but they don't shed their tribalistic thought process, and you can be just as religious about being an atheist or just as religious about your some form of identity, politics that you do or something. People can be just as religious about something that they identify with that doesn't have to be religion because they haven't shed the way of thinking. They haven't really. They're not really using rational discourse and skepticism and these sort of things. That even though on most issues they are that way, and the weird thing, I love when people say the mental illness because. If you think about how many people have what we could consider mental illness, right? Mm-hmm. Depression or schizophrenia or bipolar. Or,
you have depression. You have schizophrenia.
Everybody I know has something. And it's like, then what becomes what is the norm? I mean, I'm sure the three of us probably have something that is considered a disorder. And it's like, well, then what becomes...
Stop reading my Twitter feed.
Yes, exactly. So then if 60% of the population has depression, then isn't the 40% that are mentally ill? I mean, honestly, what's the fucking norm here?
I would say you look at it as a broad spectrum, and you have to also look at, what are the sociological factors? Like when I argue with these supposed scientifically minded racists, they like to point at these very small variations in brain size and capacity, whatever, which is of negligible effect. But then when you try and bring up something like, well, are you aware that diet has a big factor in the size of your brain and early childhood development, and that what you're not really proving is that white people are smarter, but that minorities have been, eating a terrible diet. They're not getting nutrition.
Right.
So it's, your white supremacy is actually more colonial bullshit. You know? But
it's also not just that like people are religious about atheism. It's also that they think that once they get the answer to the God question right, that suddenly they've never been influenced by religion whatsoever.
Right.
All those years of sitting in the pew being told that queer people are terrible and coming to steal their kids from the bathroom.
Right.
They just, change their answer to the God question, and none of that influence has ever affected them whatsoever. Blank slate.
Yeah. Well, I don't understand too. I know Trump supporting hardcore right wing, and I get that there's a lot of libertarians. I fucking hate libertarians, but there's a lot of libertarian atheists. But I've seen like hardcore Trump supporting Republican atheists, and I'm like, how do you align with any of these?
Oh, it's easy. I'm a selfish psychopath.
Yes, exactly. I guess that's what it is.
I just do it for the money.
Yeah, exactly.
I know there's no heaven, so might as well get rich and screw all y'all.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that there's a difference between having, being right on a few issues and having a basic understanding of certain topics, and really having an understanding of, or having a brain that processes things in general. And like Ty always talks about, everyone who's ever listened to this episode, that the last thing Ty says every episode is empathy, people. Empathy. Why is there no fucking empathy in this country? And that's it, is like you talk, when I talk to people and you look at this border situation where I'm people that I thought were friends and relatives going, yeah, good. They should fucking shoot those kids with rubber bullets and gas them and kill them because their parents committed a misdemeanor.
Not straight at them. You bounce it off the ground.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, come on, dude.
I mean,
I'm not a monster.
And I'm like, these are like people that I thought were normal people that are advocating gassing and shooting children with rubber bullets.
But we live in a society that doesn't nurture.
We
don't nurture empathy. We don't nurture empathy in our society, and a lot of this homophobia comes from the whole idea of male emotional fragility. Like, if a man is emotional, if a man cries, he's weak.
Right.
You don't know how to handle your feelings, you pussy. Come on now, toughen up.
Right.
And then when you see someone who has a different way of approaching, themselves, their gender, and that can fucking threaten dudes.
Are you talking about the pussification of America?
Yeah, turning this country much pussy queers, man.
I think I read that on a shirt at a Trump rally.
Yeah.
Pussification of America and Obama.
But what they don't want to accept is that what they're really doing is making themselves more incapable of dealing with problems and being more prone to violent outbursts and explosions of emotion rather than dealing with things in a healthy, normal way.
Well, and really quick back to, I think that they've, I'm sure if not, there's many studies they've got to be doing or have done, but I'm pretty sure I've read in the past, and I don't have it to call up right now. But as far as a lot of, not just gender, but also sexuality and many things, that our brain chemistry, everybody's brain chemistry is slightly different, and it's not this black or white, but such a spectrum of how our brains work. It's like, so this idea that there are biologically born women whose brains and certain they don't function as such, like as you would. So what I'm looking for, and vice versa, man. So there's a whole spectrum that's the physical and the mental, and it's completely. There's not like a single. This is the right way or this is the right way. It's just a spectrum, and I
agree with you. Once we get rid of the gay people, we can start going after people with extra fingers. I mean, they're freaks. They're not human. Humans have 5 fingers per hand. 2 hands, only 2 hands. All right? You're born that way. You're born that way.
And a lot of these things you can trace to fear of gay people with gender. And then when you get to fear of gay people, you realize it's a fear and hatred of women, because most of the people who hate gay people really only hate gay men. And they really only hate the ones that are, quote unquote, visibly gay. You know, the ones wearing a bikini and, you know, having glitter all around them. It's a hatred of femininity. And when you grow up in a culture that teaches that the opposite of femininity is masculinity, and that's synonymous with strength, courage, you know, bravery, all of these things, you when you see them on an anonymical scale, right, like that, you naturally think that anyone who is feminine is thus weak.
Well, no, go ahead. Continue. Sorry.
And we kind of like completely shatter their opinion of what gender must be, because even if you go with the idea that femininity is weakness, they see us as openly rejecting what they would want as strength and giving up privilege in order to be who we are. So it's not just fear, it's confusion. Because if someone thinks I'm a man and that I'm being feminine, they think I'm openly like rebelling against their perception of masculinity. And
why do you hate Jesus?
Yeah.
Why do you hate Jesus?
But I think that's kind of goes back to what Mo was just saying. On some level, I don't think most of them think it through that way, or actually, you know, process that. But I think that there is this thing growing up a boy in America where it's like, you know, I mean, especially in those like redneck type cultures, where it's like, yeah, if you're, you know, I mean, shut up, you girl, shut up, you pussy, shut up, you queer, and it's like,
even in the gilded halls, you know,
sure. I'm just saying,
son of mine's going. You're going to row. You're going to be in the Stanford team, and blah.
No, absolutely. But I'm saying that there's definitely this masculinity thing of that you if you're a man, this is what men do, and this is how, and anything that's not that is looked down upon.
Have you tried punching your problem away, son?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a competitive end game.
Yeah, and I think about that with I always think about when you look at Australia. Australia is like
Arkansas with a beach?
No, yes. No, as far as like their religion, like we're talking about, they're more than 50% of the population is atheist. They had an atheist prime minister, right? But they still were trying to get marriage equality laws at the same time we are. And I remember thinking to myself, I think I did a joke on stage one time, so I'm like, wait a second. So here in America, we don't want marriage equality because Jesus. You people are atheists and you don't want marriage equality, so that means you're just a bunch of fucking assholes. Like you know what I mean? At least the Christians have a bullshit excuse. Like you don't even have any excuse. It's like why don't you want them to get married?
Wait till you find out how we treat refugees, eh? We're all kinds of assholes over here.
Look at what just happened. They lost the fight on marriage equality, so now the propagators of the anti-marriage equality have changed their name to Binary Australia, because they're going to go after trans people when they lose the gay marriage fight. Who does that sound like? Yes. I wonder.
Nobody we've heard of here.
No. It's totally a coincidence that right after marriage equality,
I have never invited a trans person
was
to
a major issue.
Yes.
I have never invited a trans person up to my apartment. I just want you to know that in my hotel room.
No.
Chicks only. Chicks only.
No.
Don't tell my wife. Just kidding.
Well, here's the other thing. Is put all the other stuff aside. I love the the bathroom thing. Like what is the big deal that like so I can't even break it down with that. So they don't want what's the argument?
They don't want Larry Craig. They don't want their own creepy guy in the bathroom.
Right, which is like where does that even come from? I mean, that has nothing to do with anything anyone's talking about. No one's like, oh yeah. Once we pass this, once we allow that, non-gender, gender-neutral bathrooms, we're just going to allow creepy rapist guys to go into bathrooms and
the irony
put
is,
on a wig or something. It's like, where does that even come? That's not remotely what anyone's talking about. You fucking jackals.
I was educated about this from a gay friend of mine. When you ostracize a segment of the population that have to live in secret and in shame, you send them to these little hidden places. So certain bathrooms, certain places like the Beverly Hills men's room, where our bathroom park, where George Michael got in trouble. these places end up becoming
The Republican washroom in the Senate.
The Republican washroom in the Senate. Yeah. These places now become little secret little places where guys can go hook up because they're ostracized by society. So the irony is that they're so worried about these bathrooms being full of perverts.
Right.
Well, it's your ostracization. It's your stigma. You're stigmatizing of people that's creating this environment.
Well, and they only know about those bathrooms because that's where they go. That's, that's their truck stop that they like to go to.
But the irony that, the bathroom has been this place for hidden secret perversion, right, is because of your stigmatic bullshit.
Well, and let's be honest, if you're really worried, if you're really worried about your daughter getting raped or sexually assaulted in a public bathroom,
all them gays at Target.
Right, well, it's like you have who.
They always buy wicker.
What's stopping a rapist from going into a public bathroom now? Nothing. The sign on the door does not stop.
No,
I mean,
give a shit.
And it's just like this weird idea that because you are you're gay or you're transgender or whatever that you all of a sudden are some sort of weird rapist. I mean, and there's zero statistics that it's the exact opposite. It's the exact opposite on every fucking.
I was in Tulsa. And I went and there was a guy in there dressed up like a lady, and he had a gay cake. It said "Happy Wedding Day, Ray and Bob."
On the
cake in the bathroom. He was eating cake in the bathroom. This is what I'm talking about. America's going down the shitter.
But you know what? If you look at it at just the surface, of course it's ludicrous, but it's not about bathrooms. It really isn't.
No.
And what I mean by that is,
access.
People who want to exist in public. You can't ban somebody from existing in public, but you can make it really hard for them to exist in public. So if you can't use a public restroom, you're much less likely to go interact with public. Or if a place is allowed to discriminate against you, you're much less likely to go into public. So it's just like,
sounds like a libertarian
segregation,
paradise,
where you make it very difficult for someone to exist in public so that you don't have to deal with them. And when you can separate somebody like that and, tar them with these, regardless of whether there's any evidence for these reputations or not, it's designed to separate them from society. And if they're separated from society, you don't have to deal with them.
Yeah.
I think these people, like especially the Trump types, I think they're afraid they're going to go to a bathroom and there's going to be a trans man next to them who has a bigger dick than theirs, and it's going to no.
Man, I never had to raise my dress up that high.
Yeah, and it does come down to a lot of that fear too. And if you look also at the people who say that all trans people have to constantly say that they're trans, and the root of it is so I'm not accidentally attracted to one of them lest I be gay.
Right.
So if you fear being gay and you think trans women are actually men, and you find one of them attractive, oh, does that make me gay?
Well, yeah, exactly. I know that's actually something I've heard from the mouths of many people. Like, I'm not gay though.
No, the only way to know for sure is to suck a dick, buddy. If you like it, you're gay.
Well, you might be bi.
I mean, you could be bi.
You could be bi.
You might have to suck 2 dicks. That's the only way to really know for sure.
You could suck many dicks and still be completely heterosexual.
I met John Travolta and he said, I'm not gay. I just like to suck dicks. And I'm like, well, you can be straight and suck dicks. He's like, yeah, you can be straight and suck dicks. And we sucked each other's dicks. And I didn't feel gay, but it was a good time. He's a good massager. He gives a good massage.
Reverse massage is what he gives. It's just to me, it definitely comes down to this. Yeah, I don't even know where to put it.
See, this is what happens.
Keeps derailing
he doesn't know where to put it. This is a married man. He has a child, and now he doesn't know where to put it. This is what's happening.
I don't know. I know where to put it.
Now you're gonna forget how to poop because there's gonna be gay people in the bathroom, and you're gonna have shit in your drawers. You're all mixed up, son. You need Jesus.
Yeah, and when it comes right down to it, those mentally ill accusations, they often use it as an excuse to treat people like
gender
shit.
dysmorphia. They like to throw that. That's their little bullet point.
Yeah, and if even if it was a mental illness, it's not. But even if it was, that's not an excuse to treat someone like shit. And
hey, look at that cancer guy. Fuck you, cancer guy.
Yeah. So like I just had my gender confirmation surgery, my bottom surgery, 3 months ago today. And I got my surgery done at the Mayo Clinic, which is widely regarded as the best hospital in the country.
Not the Mayo Clinic. Sorry.
Mayo. M-A-Y-O. So like,
stupid.
Do you think a surgeon at the best hospital in the country would provide me with an operation based on a mental illness or a delusion? I think I'll trust my doctor.
Yeah, but there you go. There you go again. Trust in the science and trust in the establishment. That's the liberal doctors with their liberal agenda trying to trans up America. That's what they would say. I don't trust those liberal doctors.
I don't trust no doctors. That Dr. Dre telling my kid to smoke weed. Like, what the hell kind of medical school?
Yeah. And Dr. McCool's here telling your kid to get a vagina because 10 out of 10 would recommend.
I prescribe 1 vagina a week until the symptoms cease.
I'm up for that. That sounds great.
I'm married. I don't get 1 vagina a week. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you get.
I'm sorry.
Well, don't forget your anniversary and you'll get that.
Exactly. So let's now I got to ask this. How long has it been now that you've had your
3 months?
3 months
today.
So
happy anniversary.
Thank you.
And I remember seeing your posts about when, like, weeks later, right, and coming out of the hospital. How is it now? I mean, I wonder, do you have, I don't want to get graphic. Do you have phantom pain? You like, wow.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It is the most bizarre feeling in the world to like have this itch and, go to scratch it and be like, oh, I don't have that anymore. Like it's, you get this itch and then you feel where you think it is. And it's
bad enough when you're at a cocktail
the skin
party.
is going, that's nowhere near it. So the weirdest one, I was about 8 days after I got home and my husband kissed my neck or something like that. And I was like, holy shit, I just got a phantom boner. That's not possible anymore. What's going on?
Wow.
Oh, that's crazy. Now, how long does that ever go away? Or does it ease with time? Does it stay the same way forever? Or does it completely go away at some point? Do you have any idea?
Oh, it's gone away.
Okay.
At this point, I was just with someone who has only been with women their entire life.
Okay.
And outside of not having natural lubrication, they said it was pretty much like any other vagina. So after 3 months, I'd say that's pretty good progress.
Yeah, but I mean, on your end, you're not getting any more. I mean, how long will you get? Do you have any more of the phantom stuff? Like, is that going to go away, or is that always going to be? You're going to always have things like that. Do you know?
I don't really have that anymore.
No, not at all. Okay, cool.
No,
Interesting.
Do you find yourself drifting off during sex like my wife does?
Yeah, like this time I was getting, whatever. It was like, oh, I wonder if I did the laundry. No, actually, no, does not happen. Most of the time I usually convulse until I pass out because I'm sitting there going, oh my God, this is so much fucking better.
Did you hear that, everybody? Oh my God. Admits to believing in a God. Checkmate. Knew it. Jesus.
Checkmate,
Get
atheist.
Jesus. Get good with
I
Gede.
believe in the God of liberal science vagina.
Liberal science. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's yeah. I wonder. Do you know if there's any study on this? Does a trans vagina feel better than a natural, like a born woman vagina? Like, is there because of where the nerve endings are? Do you have any idea? I wonder what if they feel similar, if they feel, I mean, there's no way to know that obviously other than just, their best guess from science, but, do you have any idea?
The makeup is very similar.
Okay.
We all start as women in utero. So like before we get the chromosomes that we do, we all just have an X chromosome.
Right.
So the designs, the plumbing, so to speak, is actually very similar. And that's why they fashion a clitoris out of the former head.
Right.
So, the nerve endings may have been constructed differently, but as far as I've been able to describe, because of course I compare notes with people who have natal vaginas.
Right.
And for the most part, it's very similar.
Okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you miss peeing outside? Or maybe you still
Well,
do.
who says she doesn't pee? Come on. now.
That's right. I should have assumed. I should not have assumed.
Yes.
Do I miss being? Oh no.
Peeing outside.
I will say when I'm traveling, sometimes it's like, God, do I have to go to another fucking rest stop? Like that urge is still there.
Right.
That's probably like the only thing I'd put in the negative category so far, especially if I'm driving in some garbage state like Wisconsin. It's like, do I really want to go to a rest stop with people from Wisconsin?
As a guy, like for me, it's election signs, you know, like it'll be a candidate I don't like. And even if I don't have to pee, like I'll make it happen, you know.
I don't know if I don't know if I could not have the option of peeing in a cup while I drive down the freeway, which I've done many times on the road where I'm like, I've been driving 24 hours and I am not fucking stopping, or there's no place to stop. And I'm like, all right, well, this Gatorade bottle is now. I've done that multiple times.
Don't leave this in the car.
Yes, exactly. that Gatorade. No, don't want that.
Yeah. That's why I never buy lemon.
No, the lemon
I always buy the blue Gatorade, so I don't make that mistake.
Well, you know, it's oddly enough, my pee is blue.
It's all that methylene.
Yes, exactly. It's all the, that's so. What? Let's give us some other insight. What's something that you wouldn't have? Is there anything
like a surprise that happened? Something that surprised you? Like, wow, I didn't expect this.
A lot of things, and that's been true throughout the entire transition, never mind after surgery. But I would say the biggest surprise has been how quickly I adjusted to it. Because, you know, you would think with that major of a change that you would, you know, be like 3 months later or whatever and just still confused, or your body still doesn't know how it works. And it felt normal within 2 or 3 days. Outside of the itches and the occasional like phantom sensation, like it was just, I that's how it is now. This feels correct. So I would say the amount of time it took to get to that point was unbelievably fast.
Huh. Yeah, that's now when you did you start, how long did you have to start hormone before all this? Like, was it years or?
You have to have both medically and socially transitioned for a year before they'll even see you.
Okay.
So, you know, you can't just be on hormones. You actually have to live as you are.
Right, for sure.
Socially for at least a year. And for me, I started hormones on July 13th, 2016. And I had my surgery September 13th of this year. So it was about 2 years and a couple months. And that was remarkably quick turnaround. Most people, you know, just to get on a waiting list, the waiting list is 3 to 5
I'm going to say
days.
that's really quick.
Yeah, it's almost unfair. And, you know, at the points where I was having, you know, doubts or fears, I was like, there are people who would murder their families to be here right now. I should probably stop being scared.
How did you get it that fast? Was it just luck, or did you have somebody? Did you pull some strings somewhere?
No, I didn't pull any strings. I just happened to know that the Mayo Clinic they had just opened their gender clinic. So there wasn't a line yet. You know, when I got in there, they said, oh, well, we've gotten a bit of a line since your first appointment. You might have to wait like 4 to 5 months. And
like, oh, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, when go ahead.
I was in Philadelphia for university, and every doctor in the city had a 3 to 5 year wait. So,
wow. Yeah. Now, so my question, when you started on, so I have a 13-year-old daughter, just about to be 14, and she's, you know, just in her puberty stage, and boy, those female hormones. Let me tell you, she's actually she's a great kid, but it's like the mood swings, and the out of nowhere, the yelling at top of her lungs about nothing that she's never
You don't understand me.
Never been that way before. And I'm like,
you.
this has to be hormones. I wondered, did you have crazy ass mood swings and that sort of stuff when you had to go through hormones?
oh God, yes.
Yeah?
Trans people affectionately refer to it as second puberty.
Okay.
Because, you know, we went through the first one, and then we go through one again as we get adjusted to new hormones.
Right.
And It is, a lot of mood swings. You're getting used to like my skin feels different. My hair feels different. Like everything changes. My feet got smaller. Like I'm shorter than
Seriously?
I used to be. Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. I've gone down 2 shoe sizes. And then, things redistribute,
Right.
when you start growing boobs, and I have an ass now. That's weird. But also like, food cravings. The big joke with trans women especially is pickles, because they're so salty.
Right.
And the testosterone blocker a lot of trans women take is called spironolactone, and it makes you crave salt like a motherfucker.
Right.
For me, it was Oscar Mayer bologna. And, there's always the joke with pregnant women having
Right.
cravings.
And
And I would
pickles are always one of them, by the way.
Yes.
Like the
yes.
joke is always ice cream and pickles, right? That's always
Yeah.
the joke for pregnant women.
Yeah. So like it was very similar, where it might have been midnight and my husband and I are laying in bed, and it was like, okay, estrogen has decided that she wants bologna. Either we can get bologna and everybody has a nice night, or Thunder Bitch is going to come out and we're all going to be miserable.
Nice.
Yeah, I think is that your handle on Reddit? Because I think I argued with the Thunder Bitch.
If it isn't, it should be.
I like Thunder Bitch.
So how many trans people are there in the United States? Do you know?
Because we haven't really been counted, it's based pretty much on estimates. Most estimates are in between 1 million and 1.4 million. So, roughly 1%. And that includes intersex people who are born with different chromosomes or, different genital configurations. Like that includes that part of the population too, I believe. But most estimates have us, around that kind of population figure.
So that's a lot of people. That's more people than most of these bigoted towns. Like,
Well, I think isn't that roughly the same population of there's like Jewish people in America. I think
like
that's only
Albuquerque's just under 1 million.
1%.
It's more than there are more trans people than the entire population of my hometown.
Now, I wonder on the census, are they adjusting for that? Are they going to adjust for that?
I don't think they count for trans people on the census.
They were going to, and the Trump administration made it so that
get out of here. Trump administration?
Yeah, they want to know.
Yeah.
They want to know if you're a citizen, not if you're trans.
Yeah, exactly.
And you only count for like part of a citizen if you have a name that freaks me out and I can't pronounce. So, you get a half over here. And if you're one of the gay trans people, you don't get the other half over here. So I get to have ice cream and you have to watch me eat it.
You would think these idiots would want to count trans people for
so they know where
for
they
reasons
are.
of
Know
menace.
where they're at.
For reasons of menace, exactly. Yeah.
There's 1 million trans people and 10,000 of them are in bathrooms right
But
now.
I guess it's a double-edged sword, because if you're counting them for your nefarious purposes, you're also recognizing them as a percentage of the population, and not some anomaly you can dismiss. 1% doesn't sound like a lot, but it is. It's a lot. 1% of a population that has a disease, that's a lot. That's serious.
This is my strange theory. I think that all Republicans and like the hardcore Christian Republican, right? I think they get all their information about people different from them via porn.
Yes.
Because they think all black guys have huge dicks and are going to fuck their wife, right?
Yeah.
I think they're afraid
But
of.
that's true, though.
Well, that might be true.
Yeah, my wife's a slut. She's a whore.
They don't mind lesbians because they're two hot chicks that I get to watch bang, yeah. And they don't like gay.
I just won't hire you.
Because 2 penises, God, that ain't how God meant it. And I think they're afraid of trans people in bathrooms because they probably go see trans porn and they're like,
Yep.
I don't want to be tricked by some hot girl with a penis. Like I think they get all of their information from porn. I'm
Quit making
convinced of it.
quit making me feel weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And, the old adage was, people who are afraid of gay people are probably secretly gay. I don't know if you saw it a couple months ago. Alex Jones, who is, the person who says that we should all be burned alive,
Right.
Was caught with trans porn on his phone. And not only was he caught with trans porn on his phone, he was caught with one of my friends' trans porn.
I was doing research.
No way.
No the enemy.
Who
My
was that?
friend Kai Bailey. I had him on Inciting Incident a couple of weeks ago, and his social media kind of blew up after that.
That's hilarious.
But it was also kind of funny because in that video,
I have
he
never
was
watched
fucking a trans chick
porn
named
with my eyes
Marissa,
open.
So
I always close my eyes. I do it for research only.
He's,
turning frogs into toads.
I don't. That's what I'm saying. I'm telling you that all of these people, everything they do is completely and totally pushed forward.
Well, I think there's been some research that's actually shown that people that are more homophobic are the ones that tend to have suppressed, homosexual desires.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
yeah, I mean but again, and they're and again, I mean, on some level, I hate always. I don't want to be that liberal of the guy that's always like, everyone's a victim, man. But on some level, I feel bad for those guys because it's like they're so wrapped up in that. Their daddy told them they're queer.
They're as much a victim of male propaganda.
They're so conflicted that it's like, and it's like they're probably gay, and it's like, dude, it's okay. We're cool, but they're so fucking conflicted inside. Like I feel bad for them. Aside from the fact that they're evil fucks on top of that, but aside from that,
it's sad. It's sad that these dumb fucking science denying assholes can't have a healthy sex life.
Yes, exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Well, most people who do have healthy sex lives are like, who cares?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, but maybe a lot of these guys would have more empathy if they had empathy for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
Yeah. Well. So you're saying they're self-hating?
Absolutely.
Dr. Maurice.
Absolutely. Yes. And for any of you motherfuckers out there, I am a real doctor. So take any medical advice I give out on Twitter.
And he calls his
whatever I tell you to stick up your ass, you do it. I'm a doctor.
Yes. And he always refers to his patients as motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Actually, I would love it if my doctor, if I walked to my doctor's like, "What's up, motherfucker?" I'd be like, "I don't know, what's up with you, dick?"
All right. Which of you motherfuckers is next?
Here's your MRI, bitch.
Get your paper gown and gown and cold ass in here.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I did have a doctor recently said something. He's like, well, I mean, because I literally came from the doctor minutes before I came in today to do this and got an MRI on my hip. I'm having all kinds of problems. And last time I saw the doctor, he was, yeah, man. He goes, well, you spent a lot of time fucking up your body, because of training martial arts and that sort of stuff. He's like, oh, you spent a lot of time fucking up your body. I was like, yes, the doctor just said I'm fucking up my body. Yeah. That's the clinical diagnosis.
I would be the last doctor in America who smoked during the exam. I only smoke cigarettes around my patients.
No, there's a doctor, hilarious. So there's a fight doctor. He's actually a plastic surgeon, and he dresses in all Ed Hardy gear. Oh. Like he's wears like cowboy boots and like the matching jean suits. And when I first met this doctor, so he's one of the doctors at the MMA shows, right? So they got to make sure when they're a weight cut that no one did. They check you before to make sure you didn't lose too much water or whatever. And he's a doctor ringside in case somebody gets injured or whatever. And the first time I met him, he was standing over in the corner and he was smoking a cigarette. And I go, hey, and they said, oh, you got to check in with the doctor. And I said, hey, so where's the doctor? And they said, oh, that's the guy over there.
Smoking a cigarette.
And I said, that guy? And they said, yes. I walked over and I go, so, excuse me, are you the doctor? And he goes, this huge drag. That's right. it was like straight out of Airplane. And I go, oh, okay, you are.
Doctors know how to party, man. Let me tell you, I talked to this one guy who's a doctor. He was an emergency room doctor, and they would go to Vegas, he and his doctor buddy,
right?
And they would have bags of fucking blood in the fridge at the hotel, and they would get really fucked up drunk. Then they go to the hotel and give themselves a fucking blood transfusion and get the liquored out blood out.
Get the fuck out of here.
Fresh blood in.
Fuck you.
And then go back and party. I swear to God, he told me this that he did this. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, aren't you like, you're drunk? And I was like, we do it all the time.
No way.
Like, yeah, I can put a needle in drunk. It's not a big deal. He's like, it's like unbelievable.
How do you think I inject heroin into my dick?
There's a high amount of substance. There's a high amount of substance abuse amongst doctors. They take a lot of pills and a lot of alcoholics.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's well, Maybe they should meet with my well, also he's a plastic surgeon, so it's like, what do you do?
Yeah, he's
I make tits. I make tits. That's what I do for a living. Okay, dude, good job. He's a Beverly Hills plastic surgeon. What's his job? He literally makes tits and makes old people younger. That's his job. So he can smoke if he fucking wants.
I took the stethoscope out of my bag because I need more room for pills.
Well, we have to wrap it up, and we're gonna do our little 10-minute.
Great meeting you.
Yeah,
pleasure.
Tell everybody, because we're gonna wrap it up, and then we do a little 10-minute thing for people who Patreon, whatever, which we don't. Whatever.
Now here comes the real funny stuff.
Yes, exactly. But tell people where they can find you and how to follow you and all that sort of stuff.
Sure. My website is rismccool.com, RISMCCOOL. I have 2 podcasts, the Inciting Incident podcast, and if you're looking to hear trans people, how we talk when you're not around, listen to the Sister Getting Out of Hand, which is where we talk shit about you, and if you want to listen, you just have to hate yourself. Nice. Both of those come out every week, and I have 6 books. You can find all 6 of them at if you type in Marissa Alexa McCool on Amazon, you can find them there. My 7th one is coming out soon, and it's all about going through and getting my vagina. So if you're really curious and you have all those burning questions, no pun intended, I'm probably going to answer them there. And
Nice.
I speak all over the country. I was just down in your neck of the woods recently speaking at the Free Thought Alliance convention. So
we tried to have you in studio and it didn't work during that time.
Yeah. Because I was staying too far away, and I didn't realize how California traffic works.
Yes, California top to bottom is like
nobody
like
here
Europe.
does either. Nobody here knows how it works. Either.
Yeah, exactly. Well, cool. Well, thanks again. And by the way, Riss McCool. That just sounds like a character in a movie. Like, by the way, that's like that's the coolest.
It's the McCoolest name I've ever heard.
McCoolest. Like what's your website? Riss McCool. Are you the doctor? That's right. That's right. Cool. Well, we'll see you. See you on the Facebooks, and and all that. And this, I think this actually, we might even come out tonight or soon. So, see you next time. Thanks again, and maybe we come back on your podcast one of these days. That'd be cool.
Would love to have you anytime.
All right, sweet. And then I'm gonna have you back on when Ty's in town, so you can talk to Ty, because he's way better at asking. I feel like he'll ask questions. I'm like, I never thought about asking that question. That's a great question to ask somebody.
Right?
Exactly. So, all right, cool. We'll see you next time. And everyone else, stay on for 10 minutes. And Maurice, tell everybody where you can.
You can find me on the Twitter at Northup Maurice, NORTHUP MAURICE, until they delete that.